In the quiet town of Windcrest, the Martin family was known for their idyllic lifestyle. David and Laura Martin, along with their 2 children, Jacob and Emily, lived in a charming farmhouse on the outskirts of town, until one fateful night turned their lives into a nightmare. On a chilly October evening, a power outage plunged the farmhouse into darkness. The Martins gathered in the living room, lighting candles and trying to make the best of the situation. Jacob, a 14-year-old with a penchant for pranks, had been unusually quiet all day. His parents, concerned but dismissive, attributed his mood to typical teenage angst. As the night deepened, David went to check the fuse box in the basement, while Laura tried to entertain Emily with stories. Jacob, however, had other plans. He quietly slipped upstairs to his room, where he kept a collection of model airplanes and other hobby items. There, hidden away, was a small but deadly tool, a serrated knife he had stolen from the kitchen months ago. In the basement, David was startled by the sudden flicker of the candlelight and the soft sound of footsteps behind him. Before he could react, a sharp pain seared through his chest, and he collapsed, gasping for breath. The blade had cut deep, severing vital arteries. David's body slumped against the cold concrete, his last breaths echoing through the empty space. Laura, hearing the commotion, rushed to the basement, only to be met with a similar fate. As she descended the stairs, the darkness was pierced by the glint of the knife. Laura's scream was muffled by the heavy thud of her body hitting the floor. The attack was swift and brutal, leaving her lifeless beside her husband. Upstairs, Emily, just 9 years old, was huddled in her bed, frightened by the noises coming from below. Jacob, with a cool determination, crept into her room. He watched her for a moment, her innocent face illuminated by the dim candlelight, before striking with the same merciless precision. Emily's tiny form was no match for his aggression, and she, too, fell victim to his violent outburst. As the night wore on, Jacob, now covered in blood and drenched in sweat, was overcome by a strange calm. He cleaned the knife, hiding it back in its secret place, and sat in the living room, trying to piece together what had just happened. His mind was in turmoil. A fog of confusion enveloped him, making it difficult to grasp the full extent of his actions. When the power was restored and morning light filtered through the windows, Jacob was found by neighbors who had come to check on the family after hearing of the power outage. The police were summoned, and the Martins' horrific fate was discovered. Detective Sarah Green, assigned to the case, was puzzled by the absence of any forced entry or clear motive. Jacob, traumatized and in shock, was initially a witness. He told the officers about the power outage and his fears, but his recollections were fragmented and inconsistent. The forensic team suspected Jacob after finding a bloodstained knife hidden in his room and inconsistencies in his story. Detective Green uncovered Jacob's repressed memories of the night, revealing his unaware involvement in the murders due to a dissociative state triggered by unknown psychological factors. As the trial unfolded, the court grappled with Jacob's mental state, exploring the depths of his psyche and the nature of his actions. It has been found out that his paranoia had been exacerbated by recent stress. David had been putting pressure on Jacob to excel academically, pushing him into advanced classes and extracurriculars that Jacob felt were beyond his capabilities. Laura, meanwhile, had become increasingly distant, preoccupied with her own work, and not recognizing the signs of Jacob's deteriorating mental state. Emily, though innocent, had unwittingly become a target for Jacob's misplaced anger and fear. The power outage that night was the catalyst that triggered Jacob's breakdown. As the house went dark, Jacob's paranoia reached a boiling point.